Welcome back. We're still with Professor Olu Ajakaye, the immediate past president of the Nigeria Economic Society. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you very much.
Now, still on agriculture, which is another mainstay for the economy if well driven, let's talk about technology. You mentioned that earlier. What are the loopholes you see? Because if we keep talking about it and there's nothing done, then I think there's some problem there.
Yes. The first challenge there is ensure that the technologies developed by our research institutes, particularly agricultural research institutes, are designed to meet the needs of the farmers. In many parts of the country, farmers still use very rudimentary, traditional methods of production, all right? Labor intensive, and that's why agriculture is not attractive to the young ones. And that's why there's massive movement of the youth from the rural area to the urban areas, resulting in aging farming population. Which, of course, as you get older, your ability to actually exert yourself gets reduced, particularly if the technology you are using is labor intensive. So the thing, therefore, is for government to support our research institutes to design and develop technologies that will ensure that we make agricultural production much more modern and much more productive in terms of raising the yield and productivity of all the various subsectors of agriculture. Once that is done, then the next thing is to support them to disseminate through what we call extension. And that requires the state governments to strongly support their agricultural development programs. The ADPs are the veritable instruments for disseminating technologies developed by the institutes, for ensuring that the technologies that are developed by the institutes are designed to solve the problem of the farmers, not what meets scientific interests of the researchers. All right? Because you can be doing your research just for your fancy to publish in international journals, but your people are not accessing these technologies because your technology is not meant, it's not designed to solve their problem ab initio. So once we do that kind of, the linkage between research and farmers through the extension programs, then you then discover that we shall be changing technology on the farms, in the industry, in the sector, and therefore producing good quality agricultural, produce in a large quantity on a sustainable basis that will then encourage industry to now start taking them for the value addition processes. That way, we move from rudimentary technology and producing crude, agricultural produce, mainly suitable for, immediate consumption by the population, into a process whereby every household will therefore be able to have processed agricultural commodity that are still very wholesome. There's always the story that Malaysia came to Nigeria, to NIFO, as a matter of fact, to pick up, seedlings of oil palm to their country. Today, Malaysia is not only, a massive producer of raw, palm, oil, but they have gone into processing so far that it even now supplies input into their pharmaceutical industry, supply input into their, auto industry, because through processing at a very high level, you can even get grease from, palm oil to actually lubricate, engines and lubricate machines in the, auto industry or heavy industry subsector of their economy. That's where we should be going. We have the NIFO still here. We have all the agri-research institutes everywhere here, but we have not been giving them the kind of support on a sustainable basis that will enable us do exactly what Malaysia is now doing, so that Malaysia is now a major exporter. In fact, we also import some of this oil palm based produce from Malaysia. They came from here to take the raw material, the seedlings, and they are now ahead because they have added value. Which we should do that so that we can actually be on the same place. So once we do that, diversification of the economy, we actually begin from there. We diversify from agriculture to industry and then broaden the economy. Even in oil, crude oil, we can also diversify from there. Because most of what we wear today, they are now blended commodity from laboratory-based material from petrochemical industry, plus some, on the farm, produce like cotton to produce blended, materials. Many industries now depend on plastics. They also come from oil. So we can actually diversify from any sector once we believe in value addition instead of exporting crude, oil.
You see, there's something baffling here. We've heard these sort of ideas, unique knowledge being shared on different platforms of how to make the agricultural sector get a boost. But where is that disconnect really? Because even the government is aware of some of these things you talk about. So are we talking about corruption here as the major hindrance? Or, of course, because the government knows about all of this and is able to implement these ideas. What's happening?
First of all, efficiency of government, which is very important in this matter, and that's where you find corruption, governance problems coming up. But more importantly, since 1999, Nigeria, in my own judgment, has not taken planning very seriously. What I've just described requires serious planning. You sit down and decide that what kind of economy do we want to develop in the next 5-6 years. Fortunately, we in Nigeria have worked on what we call Vision 2020, right? Which is to make Nigeria the 20th largest economy, yes. Diversified economy, not just large, diversified economy, sophisticated economy by the year 2020. It is a build-up on the Vision 2010, which is actually still, aimed at the same thing. What has been lacking is that we have this long-range plan. The expectation is that we shall then be developing medium-term plan based on that long-range plan, and the medium-term plan will then be determining the pattern of our investment in the annual budget. What has happened since 1999 is that we have these documents there, but they are just left there, and we start doing budgeting on the basis of whatever comes our way. The result, therefore, is that there's no direction for economic program, because government has to lead before the private sector follows. The idea, therefore, is, I think, under some kind of misconception that there's a competition between government and private sector. So they say government should get out of the way, let private sector do it, but forgetting that the private sector will not move an inch unless government leads. And the leadership of government is in the implementation of the plan, which is not only a government plan, but a plan of Nigerian society. All right? So if we as a country come together and say, this is what we want to do over the next 5 years, and know the roles of all stakeholders, beginning from the private sector, the labor union, the government, to coordinate and guide everybody, then the capital program of government will be designed to create an enabling environment, crowd in private sector investment in areas that we as a society have articulated that we wanted to go. And therefore, you will have seen that all these interesting and beneficial, high oil revenue over the years would not have been spent the way we spent them. In that kind of a context, corruption will have been automatically, contained, because everybody will be asking, this is what we agreed to do in line with our medium and long-term plan. Why are we not going that way? We don't have to wait until 2015 before we are asking the question we have been asking from the year 2000 up to date. So the disengagement from the medium-term plan of our capital program in the annual budget is the problem. So what we need to do, therefore, is quickly, this government should put all these ideas in form of an immediate medium-term plan, and ensure that from 2016 on, the capital program actually draws its implication from that medium-term plan, so that by the year 2020, we know how far we have gone in achieving the lofty goals in that document.
All right, you talked about economic direction, but I'm wondering now, this introduction of the federal government's zero-based budgeting, is it going to give us some sense of direction?
Exactly. In fact, that for me, that's a very a productive way of managing transition from the old order of planlessness to an order where we have to plan. All right? Zero-based budgeting fundamentally says every program by every MDA must be justified. Not just, this is what we have been doing, just give us money, we add 10,000 and we move on, which they call incremental budgeting, which means you are not re-examining whether the total package of government capital program is in line with the development aspirations of Nigeria. When you are therefore doing zero-based budgeting, you are asking every agency to assume that every project will be competing. And the choice of the basket will then depend on, one, how much money we have, two, with this money, which project do we put these resources on to ensure that we advance our goal. And that means that you then interrogate every project by saying, how compatible is this to employment generation? In essence, how much, or how many jobs, quality jobs, will be generated by this project directly and indirectly. Every agency must bring that one up. Of course, not every project will be able to generate the same intensity of jobs. So if you have therefore 1 billion naira, and you have a project that, a basket that requires 1 trillion naira, the selection, criteria will now be on the basis of the contribution of each of the projects to these goals. Before, it will have been that 1 billion, spread it across all projects so that you don't offend everybody. So you get 10,000, you get 15,000. Nothing happens that way. So it is not therefore, in my own judgment, an indication that government will abandon projects. No, it doesn't mean we prioritize. Select the ones that we can implement, begin with our budget, and then we continue as we finish new ones, we roll in. Justifying, all right, the contributions of each project to the attainment of the goals of government is actually what is required in zero-based budgeting.
So actually, we really hope that from henceforth we'll see better changes in the Nigerian economy. Thank you very much, Professor Olu Ajakaye, for coming on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you for your mails as always. Keep them coming using the address and Twitter handle on your screen. Don't forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. Make your comments after viewing the current video and other episodes of the program. Remember to include your name and where you're writing from. Thank you for watching this week. I'm Gloria Umezuke. See you again.